Dreadnought time, Miner. Find the damn thing, destroy it.
To me, Deep Rock Galactic Survivors is a nice side distraction from the original game of which it's spun off from. That's not exactly a glowing endorsement of this small side project, but that's honestly how I feel about the game. At its core, DRG Survivors is mostly a particular flavor of the top-down auto-shooter game genre. It does its best to set itself apart from other similar games, and some of those efforts hit the mark while others miss entirely. To start things off, the game has lots going for it in the aesthetic department. The graphics, which draw from the original Deep Rock Galactic, are bright, colorful, and expressive. For these reasons, there's never any question of what exactly you're looking at, so you know what you need to run towards or avoid. That being said, there's a certain amount of trouble the game has with screen clutter. As is the case with auto shooters, there's a lot going on the screen at once. In the case of DRG Survivors, the biggest drawback is when you experience multiple explosions in rapid succession. When this happens, it's easy for some of the more durable enemies to survive the detonations and be covered by the blasts, leaving you to question in the moment if it's safe to rush in for all of the experience left behind on the ground, or wonder if that cloud is still filled with armored glyphids ready to end your run early. Beyond this issue is the fact that, while the game is indeed pretty, it fundamentally feels like it's almost entirely lifted from the original Deep Rock Galactic. I personally have around 500 hours in the original DRG, which means many of the game's motifs are etched into my memory, especially the flavor audio and voice lines. Every time something happens, from landing for a new mission, to finding rare minerals to mine, to enemy waves arriving to ruin your day, there's a voice line from either your character or management.
The scanner just lit up like a Christmas tree. We got a swarm incoming. The scanner just lit up like a Christmas tree. We got a swarm incoming.
In its current release state, DRG Survivors recycles a lot of those audio clips, which, while not really detrimental to the game's fun, does make it feel more like it's less of an original idea and more of a side project made with whatever could possibly be recycled from its preceding and much larger sister game. Now, with all of those things said, while DRG Survivors is rough around the edges, it has grown on me. The game's setup is pretty simple, and if you've played the original game it's based on, it'll come off as immediately familiar. It's basically a solo deep dive with 5 levels. Every level, you're tasked with drawing out an elite enemy, and while you're waiting for the timer to fill before they appear, you fill your time with both staying alive and mining minerals, which you can spend on upgrades. After you defeat the level boss, you're tasked with getting back to the drop pod within a time limit and proceeding to the next level. This is what really sets DRG Survivors apart from other auto shooters on the market. It focuses on a rush from objective to objective rather than just survival. In addition to this, the game features a destructible environment, meaning when the horde of bugs bearing down on you gets to be too much, you can rely on your dwarven might to just dig away from the danger. Digging isn't just for escape though, as throughout the environment are a series of resources that will be familiar to DRG veterans. Some of these resources you mine to buy upgrades at the main menu, but gold and red nitra are used between levels to grab additional upgrades before proceeding to the next stage. This feature is actually pretty nice, as if you've really done a good job mining, you can massively upgrade your arsenal between levels, which helps to balance the potential lack of leveling up. With other auto shooters, there's a propensity to mostly stay in the same area, moving around vaguely to soak up as much experience as possible. With DRG Survivors, however, most of the mechanics encourage you to not stick to the same small area of the map and instead constantly move around. The more you mine, the more you'll be able to buy, and there are even resupply drops you have to prep a landing zone for before they'll arrive. These drops actually have strategic value too, as they can be manipulated into landing on the level boss to speed up your eventual victory and mad dash to the extraction pod. If all of this isn't enough, there's also an overall mission to complete on each of the first 4 levels.
You know the drill, Miner. Fulfill your objectives. Let's get out of here.
These missions will, again, be familiar to DRG veterans, such as collecting Apoca Blooms, Bulu Caps, or mining for Morkite. When you complete the mission, though, you're rewarded with an additional injection of funds to further spend between levels.
Well done, you got them all.
As a veteran Deep Rock Galactic player, what I have to profess is that DRG Survivors really hit me wrong when I first began to play it. It's not that what's here is bad, but that it's both bare bones and not the same experience that I'm used to in the original game that I've both come to know and love. That being said, the more time I've spent with it, the more I've come to enjoy DRG Survivors for what it is. An auto shooter with a DRG skin on it that's only just released and is in early access. For what this game is on release, I think it's worth it, and the price point, about $10 US, isn't bad. I also can't stress how the game's different structure of rushing from one stage to the next, breaking down your focus and goals into 5 separate similar sections, really helps to make the game at least seem like it's moving faster. When you jump into a game, each level lasts 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how aggressively you play. And then, before you know it, you're running to escape for the next stage. What's more, the game is designed to discourage you from lingering in each level to effectively grind and level up endlessly. If you kite the boss around for too long, the enemies get progressively stronger, and, as already stated, beating the boss gives you a time limit to escape the level, putting a heavy emphasis on always moving and never lingering. Mechanically, the game is solid, and the biggest flaw it has is how heavily it reuses audio assets from the original game it spawned from. Even so, it's got spark, and enough originality as a result of drawing from the game it's based on to help set it apart from other auto shooters. That, combined with the low price point, and I say it's hard not to give this game a pass, especially since it's only just released and manages to scratch the auto shooter itch in such a different way. It's not perfect, but it's grown on me, and I look forward to how it will continue to change as the developers continue to flesh it out.
Not fair! Just not fair!
Until next time, I'm William Strife. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you later.